evening, everyone. I am Reverend Karen LeBlanc. I minister to this congregation as we minister to each other here. We are a beloved community of people who believe that everyone is worthy of respect, that science is real, that the democratic process is a sacred thing, that we are all part of an interconnected web, and that the light and energy that we share and put out makes a difference in this world. We are people of purpose here, and everyone, and we do mean everyone, is welcome in this meeting house. We are people of purpose here, so if what you hear today resonates with you, and we hope it does, and you're new here, you can fill out one of these magic blue cards that you'll find in your pew, and if you put that into the offertory basket, you can get on our newsletter list to keep you abreast of the many, many wonderful happenings here at First Unitarian. Maybe you'll consider becoming part of this way cool family of seekers and keepers of this very long dream that is our church. A couple housekeeping things. If hearing devices are now available in the back. There are 3 of them that are working currently. The only thing I ask is that you please turn them off when you're done so that we don't run through batteries like crazy. That would be great. Please read the announcements that are in your order of service as well. Eli's got a message from the social justice little update there. Join us for coffee hour, of course, after the service, right through that door. And try to find yourself a name badge. Get one going. We have many options for name badges, from stick-ons to like magnet things that hold it on through your shirt, which are pretty cool. Next week is a Feed Your Soul Sunday here. So this is something that is a carryover from last year. Eileen will be hosting. And it's a different kind of service. We will start here and have a little prayer together, but then people will go downstairs and have a little more embodied worship, eating a meal together, and getting to know each other really as people face to face. That's a good thing to do. So we're going to be continuing that. So if you want to bring a dish to share also, that would be terrific. I think that's about it. If you would put your phones into worship mode so we can go about this sacred business with that mundane stuff left aside. We will begin by lighting our chalice. Where's my chalice lighter? Brody, my friend. Come on down. That's right. You can just use the match if you want to. That's fine. Handle it. The chalice lighting words are from Reverend Sarah Lawal. Out of the flames of fear, we rise with courage of our deepest convictions to stand for justice, inclusion, and peace. Out of the flames of scrutiny, we rise to proclaim our faith with hope to heal a fractured and hurting world. Out of the flames of doubt, we rise to embrace the mystery, wonder, and awe of all there is that is yet to be. Out of the flames of hate, we rise with the force of love, love that celebrates our shared humanity. Out of the flames we rise, people. Our opening words this morning are from Reverend Gretchen Haley, called Giving Each Other Courage. And these readings are used by permission. Come in, all who long to know how to love this world, how to keep eyes open, hands unclenched, arms wide, breathing deeply in and out. This is a time to practice, because there is still so much good in the world. So much good, so much beauty, so much joy. But it can be hard to keep telling this tale with all the news and the wind and the rain and the trembling earth. Come in, all you who teeter on this edge of cynicism. brokenhearted and trying still to remember laughter and kindness and the chance to be alive in these days when so much is at stake. In this place, we remind each other why we persist, giving each other courage to take this path that is not always easy to keep practicing. This love that cannot, that will not let us go and still calls on us always. Come, let us worship together. And if you will rise now in body or spirit, as you are willing and able, Yasmin and I are going to lead number 362, 362, Rise Up, O Flame. We're going to do it in sign language, and you can follow along with us, please, if you care to. So before Randy starts it, we'll show you what this looks like. So it goes, rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. We're going to do it 4 times around, 1 to get it, and then 3 times to learn it. Moving and stuff. Now we will take the time to greet one another. Say hello. So good to see everyone here today. Now, if you'll all rise together, we will read our covenant, which is printed in the order of service here. We come together as a religious community, upholding freedom of conscience, right relationship, and the inherent worth of all people. We value our diversity and pledge to care for one another in the spirit of compassion, to speak and listen to each other with respect, and to promote justice and kindness in the world. Have a seat. Here comes Miss Yasmin Flefle-Vincent for the story.
Good morning, everyone. So it's a new month, and the theme is courage. And I just want to start by getting us in tune. I'm going to ring the bell 3 times, and I'm going to tell you what to listen to each time. So first, listen to the sound of the bell until it disappears. Now, I want you to listen to your breath until the bell no longer sounds. And third, I want you to try to hear and feel your heart beating until the bell no longer sounds. So you might want to place your hand over your heart. So today we're going to talk and explore about this wholehearted courage, which is basically our theme, and it means to follow your heart. And we have something that's like, we kind of know what's in our heart and what speaks to us, and that's really important. So we're going to deal with what it's like to live with courage to be yourself. And so this little heart was made by a couple who once attended our church. They are no longer here because they moved away. Their names were Terry and Marilyn Goyer. And they came from Minnesota, and he once gave this to me. They actually gave me a whole bunch of them because I was like enamored by it because I love small things. And it's like, it was meant to be in their line of work where they came from, to give it to like someone on the street corner who just needed a reminder that they're loved. And it's squishy, so you could kind of put it in your pocket and it won't hurt you. And he was also like 80-something years old. I know, it just, to me, that was like kind of old. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna run the New Bedford half marathon. I was like, oh yeah, me too. And so I was like, wow, these people have like courage. Like they just show up to New Bedford, they come, and they just brought so much life to the church. So this heart came from them, and they always reminded me to like have the courage to continue doing what I'm doing. So we're gonna start by reading this story, Courage, by Bernard Weber, who also wrote a story called Lyle, Lyle, Crocodile, and I used to have a dog named Lyle. So this is dedicated to my old dog named Lyle, my first child. So there are so many kinds of courage. Awesome kinds, like to be a trapeze artist. And everyday kinds. Still, courage is courage, whatever kind. It's riding your bicycle for the first time without training wheels. Muscle memory, people. It's that spelling bee and your word is superciliousnicious. I don't even know. Courage is like trying to say it up here. Courage is 2 candy bars and saving 1 for tomorrow. Courage is mealtime and desperately hoping it's not chunky chunks with gravy again. And it's nobody pick on my little brother. Courage is your job to check out all the noises in the night. And it's being the new kid on the block and saying, hey, what's up? My name's Wayne. And it's tasting vegetables before making a face. And it's not peeking at the last pages of the whodunit book to really see who did it. Or being the first to make up after an argument. Or deliberately stepping on sidewalk cracks. Courage is the bottom of the ninth, 2 scores, tie score, 2 outs, bases loaded, and you're up to bat. I feel for that person. Courage is that juicy secret you promised never to tell. Courage is being scrubbed and sudsed up by some stranger. Or breaking bad habits, the cat and the dog thing. Courage is suddenly remembering a silly joke and trying not to giggle when everyone else is being really serious, because that never happens in a classroom. Courage is arriving way too early for a birthday party and sending a Valentine's and actually signing your name and admiring and not plucking and going to bed without a nightlight. And courage is deciding to have your hair cut and not to ever cover up your jealous, mean side. And it's that scenic car trip and being stuck in the middle during the best part. And courage is explaining the rip in your brand new pants. And courage is going on it again, front row, hands up. And courage is, if you knew where there were more mountains, you probably would climb them. And exploring the heights and the depths. But courage is really that blade of grass breaking through the icy snow and starting over and holding on to your dreams. And courage is being a firefighter or a police officer or really saying goodbye to someone you love. But at the end of the day, courage is actually what we give to each other. And so that's what we're going to work on this month. So I invite you to attend and show up with your whole heart, because that really takes courage. So thank you. And I believe now we're going to go up to Sunday school, and may words I say be kind and true, may love be a guide in all I do, may peace be with us in your heart, and we'll see you while we're apart next Sunday. All right.
Now is the time in our service where we share with each other our joys, our sorrows, our concerns. If you have something you'd like to share, please come on up to the microphone, tell us your name, and I will light a candle for you. I will start with a candle of love from my sister Katie, whose birthday was yesterday. We are all of an age now that we will stop mentioning how old we are. So I'll light this for Katie Beth. And I need to light a candle for all the people in the path of this hurricane. In Florida, and I know, we have lots of friends in Florida. I think of the Giffens are friends there. Our friend Michelle McKay, who worked with us in the thrift store, has a cousin down there that completely lost their house, has to stay with the aunt and uncle right now. It's been devastating for a lot of people, and it's going to only get worse in South Carolina and Georgia. The people of Puerto Rico are still suffering, so let's send our hearts out where it's needed, because it's needed so much right now. Anybody else? All right.
Hi, I'm Charlie Morgan, and a candle of concern for my mom, who had a little bout this week and ended up in the emergency room, and something we didn't anticipate. We were transferred to Boston, and she's there right now, but she is getting better with hopes of heading home soon.
I don't know if it's fair to use this moment to make an announcement, but I'm going to anyway. Depends on the announcement. Well, I wanted to carry forward from something that's in our covenant, which says that we are a religious community and we pledge to care for one another. And I wanted to point out that the way that our church works is what they call a congregational church. In other words, we're the congregation, and the minister doesn't have to do everything. And, and I noticed that we have several opportunities to volunteer in here, and it occurred to me that people might not think, I can volunteer for something that I really care about. For instance, the hospitality committee, you care about food? You might want to help with the coffee hour. If you care about gardening, there's the garden. And of course, we have social justice. Some people are considering a long-range planning committee. So feel free to join in. Thank you.
That's the good kind of announcement. We'll take that. Ushers, we also need ushers.
I'm Steve Carmel, and I want to light a candle with the hope that all the leaders of the world will not nuke us all to death. That somehow Mr. Putin will wake up to what he's doing, or at least the people of Russia will. And that's my concern today.
Back you up on that, my friend. Amen.
Good morning, church. My son Eli and his wife Claudine came down Friday, and they're still having a very hard time. She's Canadian and lives in Canada. Eli, of course, is American, and he lives in Plattsburgh, New York. And the Canadian authorities are giving him such a hard time just being able to visit his wife. And even though they came down to celebrate my birthday because I was 92 again, it's heavy on my heart, that's all I say. It's heavy on me. Even though he's a grown man, he's got children of his own, it's just heavy that they can't. Thanks. You know.
Hi, Eric here. I'm coming up here to light a candle for myself, and it takes some courage to come up here. So that's a good thing, right? Okay, so I have a very difficult road ahead of me. I don't know when my last day will be where I have the ability to do what I want to do, and the rug could get pulled out right from underneath me at any time. I can give more details later, but I'm facing a lot of fear right now, and I'm also I need the courage to. I have 2 dogs, and one of them I have to take a chance and find a home for her. And I also have some major life changes and decisions to make about staying divorced and getting married, and it's just a really heavy time in my life right now. So. Fortunately, I got the Sundays off, so I can start coming back here to church, and so that's all. Thanks.
I'll light 2 final candles, as is our practice here, one for all the joys and the sorrows and the struggles we keep in our hearts this week, and one for all of those people out there wandering and looking for a place like this that's a spiritual home where people will support you in your courageousness. Now it's time for our responsive reading, and it's printed in your order of service. I will read the plain type if you will answer with the bold. This is Rabindranath Tagore. Let me not pray to be sheltered from dangers. Let me not beg for the stilling of my pain. Let me not look for allies in life's battlefield. Let me not crave in anxious fear to be saved. Grant me that I may not be a coward, feeling your mercy in my success alone. Let us enter now into the spirit of prayer and meditation. Gather ourselves a moment. This is a meditation by John O'Donohue called For Courage. When the light around you lessens and your thoughts darken until your body feels fear turn cold as a stone inside, when you find yourself bereft of any belief in yourself and all you unknowingly leaned on has fallen. When one voice commands your whole heart and it is raven dark. Steady yourself and see that this is your own thinking that darkens your world. Search and you will find a diamond thought of light. Know that you are not alone and that this darkness has purpose. Gradually it will school your eyes to find the one gift your life requires, hidden within this night corner. Invoke the learning of every suffering you have suffered. Close your eyes. Gather all the kindling about your heart to create one spark. That is all you need to nourish the flame that will cleanse the dark of its weight of festered fear. A new confidence will come alive to urge you toward higher ground, where your imagination will learn to engage difficulty as its most rewarding threshold. So may we engage with our difficulty. Amen. saw you smiling back there, Isaiah. See, we are an equal opportunity church, Star Wars and Star Trek. We don't judge. God bless this place. Our reading this morning is from Mary Ann Williamson. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? I ask myself that every day. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, just as children do. We were born to manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Now, my friends, if you will rise in body or spirit as you are willing and able, please sing with me hymn number 8, Mother Spirit, Father Spirit. Words to that song were from Norbert Chapek, Maya Chapek's husband. It's a lovely, lovely hymn. Now, if you please will help us, because this is a time in our service where we ask you for your kind donations toward the many good works of this church, and we thank you very much. Courage. What does it mean to be courageous? Stories of fearless heroes doing mighty deeds are embedded into the mythology of every culture in the world. You must have someone to battle or to control the dragons to make the adventure worth telling. Otherwise, it's all fire and flying around, and the story has no point. There are two kinds of heroes in the epic stories. You have those all-in heroes like Hercules and Freya, or Lu and Boudica, who were born and bred to be bold and brave. And then you have the reluctant heroes like Frodo Baggins, or Han Solo, or even Spider-Man. The reluctant hero is the ordinary person thrust into extraordinary circumstances that forces him or her to rise to whatever life tosses them. Maybe that's the difference between a myth and a just plain good story. A myth should be larger than life, right? They're heroic tales that teach about being fearless and overcoming obstacles. But a good story, well, that should be a reminder of the strength it takes to act despite our fears. We relate to that reluctant hero because most of us are exactly that. We doubt ourselves. We are apprehensive, and we always feel vulnerable. We might fail. We will probably fail. We will certainly fail. And we go ahead and we keep trying anyhow. That's what we do. We're humans. What a piece of work we are. Thinking about this topic and the many ways that human courage presents itself, I ask myself, what do you think is totally out there, like as an act of courage, something that takes absolute fearlessness? And the first thing that I thought about was something that I would love to do, but it is very unlikely that I would ever get the training to be able to do such a thing. But I don't know if y'all have seen these, they call them squirrel suits or flying suits or wing suits. And it's just like a suit, like a thing of clothing, and basically built like a flying squirrel. And these guys, and it is mostly guys, who have thousands of hours of skydiving experience now, don't forget. And they get in these suits, and they go to a huge mountain, and they just like run and jump, and fly. Is that really courage? I don't know. It's extremely exhilarating and takes ginormous metaphorical cojones. But that kind of courage necessitates a level of risk that's, let's face it, almost foolish. And it's a little excessive in proving one's mettle. I'm sure a lot of you would look at someone jumping off a mountain in a wingsuit and say, that guy's an idiot. You have to be. Do you have some kind of death wish? And you'd be right. You know why? Because fearlessness, my church, is not courage. You don't need courage if you're already fearless, right? Fear is not only healthy, it's how we have survived as a species, my friends. It's why overcoming fear is built into the story of the reluctant hero. And we can relate to that, the reluctant hero that's all inside of us in one way or another. Fear and courage walk the hero's journey hand in hand. The need to be courageous is often sparked when the fear gets to be too much, when the pain of living in an unbearable way is too much. And there's no other path but to gather everything you have and stand up for your right to not be afraid anymore. We've seen this play out in myriad ways. In America, we saw it in 1965 in Selma, Alabama. We saw it at the Stonewall Inn, Greenwich Village, 1969. We've seen it in Ferguson, Missouri, in 2020. We've had our share of healthy and unhealthy uprisings in our country, and it's a phenomenon that every place in the world experiences. For about 2 weeks now, there have been protests and unrest all over the country of Iran. This all erupted when the news broke out on September 16th that a 22-year-old woman, Mahsa Amini, had died in the custody of the morality police after being accused of violating Iran's mandatory headscarf law. And she was wearing one. She just had a few pieces of hair that were poking out. This cruel and meaningless loss of life was a tipping point for many people in that country. Dissent has risen in dozens of cities, attracting large numbers of people, Iranians, women and men, calling for the ouster of the autocratic clerics who rule their country. Women were burning their hijab and shaving their heads in the streets because enough was enough. Because every woman there knew that they could meet the same fate as Mahsa Amini at any time under these morality police, and they are fed up with having to live with that constant fear. But once the women started protesting, once they found the courage to go out in the streets and demonstrate however they could that they had had enough of the fear, that courage became contagious, and the numbers grew and grew and grew. This is not safe to do in Iran. And the security officers have confronted protesters with mass arrests, with bullets and beatings. Amnesty International has confirmed at least 52 deaths, but the numbers are most likely much higher, with hundreds of wounded and thousands arrested. My heart goes out to all the courageous people who we know are struggling with desperate situations like this, all over the world, in Ukraine, in Venezuela, in Afghanistan. The list of places on this earth right now where people have to bravely fight or flee in order to be free, to just live a simple life in whatever way makes them happy, is astonishing. Our country prides itself on our freedoms. And certainly the freedoms we have here are numerous and have usually expanded as our country has progressed and changed. But like the women in Iran, who used to have much more freedom, by the way, the women in America have had rights taken away. We don't usually do that here. That does not seem like an American thing to do, give someone a right and then take it away. Telling half the population in our country that they no longer have the right to bodily autonomy or to make their own health care decisions. Taking away those most personal and intimate of freedoms. Sounds an awful lot like creating some sort of, state-sanctioned morality police, right? I hear talk from members of Congress and others that Christianity should be the only religion in this country. We are a Christian nation, our founding fathers, blah, 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 blah. Hogwash and balderdash, my friends. James Madison right now is having his own uprising in his grave. After all he conceded to in order to make sure that the language of the very first sentence of our very first amendment of our Constitution said, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. First line. I don't know, that's a lot clearer to me than well-regulated militia. We don't want or need our own morality militias here in America. Thank you very much. The fear of what other freedoms might disappear, like the right to contraception, to same-sex marriage, interracial marriage, voting rights. The fear of losing those freedoms, I hope, will only stiffen our resolve, help us find the courage to stand together and fight for equality and justice for all, challenging as it is, and will continue to be. That's our fight, church, to bravely live our principles. So let's turn for a moment to how we find our own courage, all the little things that require some bravery as we face our fears. Fears of not being accepted or loved, or not being able to be part of something bigger. Fear of failure, fear of success. All these things that scare us, big and small. All the expectations of society and the pressure, the bloody news of the day. It takes courage to face it all. It takes years of courage to accept our own selves as we are and the challenges that the universe drops in our laps. It takes bravery to be honest with your ever-changing self. I know that every one of you in this room has been that kind of brave. You might say, I'm not brave, but stop right there and think for a minute with me. Have you ever decided, I don't care what other people think anymore. I'm going to dress like I dress, or I'm going to do what I really want to do, not just what others expect of me. I'm going to love who I want to love. I'm going to write or paint or sculpt what's in my mind and my heart and my soul, and leave myself open to criticism. I'm going to leave everything I know and go to a strange place, try to make it there. I am going to speak my own mind, no matter what it costs me. I'm going to do it, and I don't care if you think it's crazy, because I know in my heart what is true, and I know who I am, and nothing else matters. If you've ever said any of those things, you are brave. You are brave. You are courageous. Tearing down those walls and stepping outside of our comfortable little boxes can be hard. The author, Rita Mae Brown, said something kind of profound that really brought this into focus for me. She said, "The reward for conformity is that everyone liked you except yourself. The reward for conformity is that everyone else liked you except yourself." It takes courage to move beyond the opinions of others and stand by our own decisions. Sometimes it's courageous to fight for something, and sometimes it's more courageous to know when to let go and walk away. Sometimes it's standing up and speaking out. Sometimes it takes real courage to sit the heck down and shut it and listen. Sometimes it's saying an emphatic no instead of a tired yes, or vice versa. It's a matter of perspective in a lot of ways, isn't it? For some people, just getting out of their house or driving over a bridge requires an enormous amount of courage that we can't understand, because that isn't what scares us. Forget about that it truly might terrify someone else. None of us knows what happens inside the heads and hearts of others. We all keep some fears hidden inside of ourselves, right? These things that make us courageous are big things, little things, almost invisible things. We are all brave, everyday, ordinary brave, with the courage that helps us out of bed every day, to step out into the world where anything can happen and let our hearts lead the way. The root of that word courage is French, coeur, which means heart. Courage is the willingness to act from the heart, to let your heart lead the way, not knowing what will be required of you next, or if you can even do it. The beginning of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, there's that great scene where Samwise Gamgee says, "It's a dangerous business, Frodo, going out your door. You step out onto the road, and if you don't keep your feet, there's no knowing where you might be swept off to." And indeed, that's the most courageous fear we all face every moment of every day, even when we're sleeping and dreaming. What's going to happen next? Anything could happen. I might die getting hit by a falling piece of space debris. Everything could happen. The whole planet is going to hell in a handbasket. Nothing could happen. And by that, I of course mean that the Large Hadron Collider could blink us all out of existence at any second. That's fear talking. Being brave, that part goes more like this. Anything can happen. Yes, it might be something amazing, or not. We'll see. In the meantime, maybe I'll just find people that I can share my joys and sorrows with, so I know I have a strong support system no matter what happens. Everything could happen. And yes, I accept. I accept that one day, in some way, my whole life will change. I know. But I have faith. I have faith, and I don't intend to do whatever it is alone. Or nothing will happen. And by that I mean, with the exception of the whole Large Hadron Collider thing, nothing will happen isn't an option, people. It's not an option, actually. That's why we have to be brave. We have to be brave, church, and boldly go with love in our hearts to make the change in the world we want to see happen through the good that we do, how we act in this world. Spread love and light and courage. Spread it like you know it matters, because it does. So buckle up, my people of purpose. Got a lot of work to do, and we will courageously do that work together. Amen, and make it so, church. Make it so. What have we got here? Now, little balm for the soul. Please rise as you are willing and able and join me in singing our final hymn, number 205. 205, Amazing Grace. Some days you need amazing grace.
Our
my church. I have no idea what happened to my closing words. Aha! There they are. These are from Jean M. Olson. It's called Go Boldly. No, nothing about that's weird. May you be brave enough to expose your aching woundedness and reveal your vulnerability. May you speak your deepest truths, knowing that they will change as you do. May you sing the music within you, composing your own melody, playing your song with all your heart. May you draw, paint, sculpt, and sew, showing the world your vision. May you write letters, poetry, biography, slogans, graffiti, the great novel, laying bare your words to love and hate. May you love even though your heart breaks again and again. Until the end of the day, at the end of your days, may your life be filled with possibilities and with courage. Hold fast, my friends. We love you. Stay strong. Live long and prosper. Go in peace. Have a great week. We'll see you then.